Hi, I'm Chris Maragakis of Simply Be Retreats and Therapies. I'm a life coach, therapist and podcaster. Welcome to Mindful Mutterings. Please like, share and subscribe. And as always, thanks for listening. Hi, thanks for joining me. So this week I'm talking about another strategy that is really useful for our wellbeing toolkit. So this is the ability to create space for ourselves, because we all need space. We need space to move about in, to breathe, to give ourselves times to think and to be ourselves. But we find that in today's really busy world, we often find ourselves rushed and hemmed in physically, emotionally or by time. So the ways that we can do this is obviously physically we can create space by reducing clutter and allowing the energy to flow freely around us and the space that we inhabit. Because if we don't, excuse me, we can feel overwhelmed and anxious, especially when we feel like we're being surrounded by disorder or chaos or just general mess. So I think I've said before, a really simple trick to sort your space out is just to have 3 boxes or bags to sort stuff into. And you have one for the stuff you want to keep, one for stuff you want to give away, and one for stuff that you want to throw. And this, you don't have to do a whole room, do what's manageable for you. Maybe you just do a surface. Maybe just the thought of clearing the clutter is overwhelming. So literally start with where you're sitting and just do what you can see around you. And once you make the start, then you'll feel more motivated to carry on. And also the energy will start to change as soon as you start to do something. So once you've sorted your stuff out, make sure that everything that you're keeping has its own place and it's easy to get out or put away. It's really useful to try and keep space under your bed free from clutter, and if you have to put stuff on top of wardrobes or cupboards, use attractive storage options so that they don't irritate you every time you look at them. Because obviously every time you get irritated, that's on a subconscious level, and you don't want to be bringing this into your life. You're trying to free up space so that you've got more time and energy to be yourself. So that's one of the ways that you can create space in your environment. I mean, obviously there's lots of others. You can create space by literally keeping everything very minimal. You can create space by bringing the outside in and making sure that windows are clean and open and that you can see out into your environment. Really the world's your oyster, but this is the first thing you need to do. Get rid of that clutter, take off some of that overwhelm, feel like you're in control of the space you're in, and then you can make it as you want it to be. Next one is creating space in your mind. And to do that, maybe try journaling. And if you don't know how to do that, have a listen to the podcast episode on that. That's number 22. Because once you get things out of your head and onto paper, it's so much easier to see which way you want to go. And you just feel like, sometimes you just feel like you want to take your brain out, stick it in a bowl of water, give it a good scrub and put it back in. And so things like journaling or making a list can kind of help you to do that, obviously, without taking your brain out. But they create that space because you're putting what's jumping around in there out onto paper so you can see it. And the minute you bring it into the present, you can start to see solutions and you can start to feel a way through. Quite often solutions will present themselves. Failing that, talking to a friend. Again, it's getting what's in your head out, and as you verbalize it, you're making sense of it, and so solutions will present themselves. Or maybe you just go for a walk or a run or whatever it is that you do as your go-to to let everything calm down and create some space for you. To create space in your heart, and we all need this because we want to be bringing love and light into our life, and sometimes we get bogged down with anger or grief or hurt, so we need to release them. And the easiest way to do that, and I say easy meaning one of the ways that you can do it, it's never an easy process, but it is the simplest way of bringing them to your consciousness, is to bring them into the present. And then once we're allowing ourselves to feel them, and we're identifying where the discomfort is in our body, and we're challenging them and seeing what we can learn from them, then we can consciously release them from our body through either an intention at the start of an exercise practice, maybe yoga or going through a run, or maybe through affirmations such as I release all that no longer serves me, or I'm letting go of the emotions that cause me pain. And then by doing this, you're freeing up space in your heart to allow new, more positive emotions to come into your life. To create space in your life itself, look at the tasks that you're busy with and see if maybe you can do them in a more efficient manner, or can they be delegated? Can they be done less frequently? Or maybe if you're lucky enough to be in the position, can you pay someone to do them for you? You know, think window cleaning, gardening, ironing, online shopping, that kind of thing. And by looking at where you can streamline what you feel has to be done, and I would urge you to challenge what you think has to be done as well, because we do have a tendency to keep ourselves busy because maybe it makes us feel important, or maybe it makes us feel in control, or maybe because we don't want to stop and have space for ourselves, because then that means we actually have to deal with what we know is underneath. So I would challenge why you're doing what you're doing. But once you do streamline stuff and you start to make space for you, then you can start doing the things that you want to do, the things that nurture you, the things that will allow you to grow, and the things that bring you joy and happiness. So ultimately, we're here to enjoy life. To create space in relationships, then effective boundaries need to be installed and maintained. If you don't know how to do that, then podcast 20 will help you explain that. It goes into that in much more depth. But essentially, you need to be setting clear guidelines as to how you are going to interact with people and how people are going to be allowed to interact with you. And if they overstep those, it's in your well-being's interest, and in the relationship that you have, it's in the interest of the relationship to reinforce those boundaries so that everyone feels that they're heard and they've got space to be who they are. And you might also find the following exercise useful when you need a little thinking time, maybe in a situation where you're feeling under pressure and you want to create some space to think, or maybe because you're just feeling overwhelmed and you need to find a way to just calm down and make some space for you. It's called 5 Things. It's a very popular exercise, but essentially what you do is you notice 5 things that you hadn't previously seen. Then you notice 4 things that you can feel, and that may be your clothing or your fingers or your hair, whatever it is. 3 things that you can hear. So maybe you listen out for birdsong, maybe you can hear a fan whirring, maybe you can hear background chatter, a car in the distance, that kind of thing. 2 things that you can smell, and the last thing is something you can taste. And that, unless you're going to put a sweet in or something, or have a drink or something, then essentially that's going to be the taste of your own mouth. But it's just about, what you're trying to do is you're trying to stop the brain from going off on its distracted, anxiety-ridden, triggered pathway, and you're trying to bring it back to the present moment so that you can create that space. And as I say, when you're distracting the brain with an exercise like this, it reduces the production of the stress hormones. And we need to do that because they cloud our judgment and we can't think clearly then. So when we are clearer and calmer and more present moment aware, we'll often find that solutions will make themselves aware to us rather than us having to problem solve a situation. For me personally, other strategies that I find really helpful for creating space are cacao. Now, cacao is a plant medicine. It's the purest form of cocoa or chocolate that you can have. And what it does is it connects to your heart center. It makes you able to verbalize what it is that you're feeling more, because you've got more oxygen going around to your brain and around your body because it's opened up your capillaries. It activates the bliss chemical in your brain, which it's like having a hug from nature, and it's one of the most beautiful experiences. It's not suitable for everyone. People who are pregnant cannot have a full ceremonial dose. It's not great if you've got a heart issue or a serious heart issue, because it speeds up the oxygen around your body. And it's no good for you if you're on antidepressants, because it reacts with the medication and the casing. But other than that, if you've not done cacao, then there's lots of opportunities to try it around. I do cacao ceremonies if you fancy having one yourself. But honestly, it is for creating space and for getting in touch with who you really are and what it is that you want at that particular moment. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And then there's meditation, which obviously is my little part of the day, which is just for me. It's when I create space for me to get to know myself better, to work through things that maybe have been difficult for me in the day, or maybe just to set an intention for what I want to bring into my life going forward. And then there's yoga, which for me is like I try to do it every day, because it just enables me to move emotions through my body so they can be released. It facilitates quietening my mind. It allows me to use my body and keep it active and supple, which in turn allows me to work better through my day, and it facilitates a better state of meditation. So that's fantastic. So I'd love to hear what you do to create space in your life, and I really hope you found this helpful. If you would like to work with me on creating some space in your life, then please get in touch. You can contact me through the website, which is simplybe.org.uk. You can call me on 07974 618 499, or you can email me on cm@simplybe.org.uk. But whatever you do, I hope you find space for you this week so that you can step into the best version of you. Take care. I'll speak soon. Bye.